there's a lot of different ways you can run stabilizers. And as far as top, bottom, you know, if you wanted to have it underneath, on top, and I chose to put especially in our surf setup, is to put the stabilizer on top of the fuse. And there's a lot of questions why you would do that or why you wouldn't. You know, I mean, it really doesn't matter. The main thing is you want to keep it a little bit out of the flow of the front wing's turbulence, and you can do it by putting it below or above. If you put it too far above, it basically just shortens your mass length, because if your stabilizer comes out, you know, then you stall, you trip your stabilizer and you stall your wing. So you want to kind of keep it, both of them kind of in a range where it's not really affecting a lot of your mast height, your ride height overall. But the main reason we put this on top for surf is, you know, you put this thing on here, when you're learning or when you're riding, you're going to ride and you're going to be able to go into shallow waters all the time. And because you're riding pretty small waves, and the depth of your 24-inch mast when you get into the shallows is going to be less than 24 inches. So you will have reef strikes, you will touch things, you're going to be paddling out, you're going to hit. Usually what hits when you're paddling out or hits the reef is, because your angle of attack is usually up a little bit on your wing, what usually strikes is your back stabilizer. So we put this on top so the bottom of the fuse will take the brunt of the load. So in the end, you'll end up with a really scratched up, beat up fuselage, and you know, this stabilizer will start showing some abuse, but you won't burr at your wings, which are important. So it just basically, when you put it on top in this configuration, it eliminates a ton of repair work, and you know, it just makes it better for when you're riding, that your wings don't get damaged. Basically, if you have a smaller stabilizer, you get more pumpability, because the front wing is freed up. It doesn't have, the stabilizer is not doing its job to stabilize the front wing, so now you get a lot of up and down movement in your wing, which is great if you're pumping all the time. You want that freeness, but also it doesn't build you don't have a very stable platform to carve or to turn or do anything, because it's always going to want to have that free motion. So over stabilizing is not a bad thing, because it just locks it. Basically, it'll lock up your front wing and make it really stable. So it basically gives you a really stable platform. So if you're a little over stabilized, it'll be better for switching your feet, switch stands, like any kind of maneuver you want to like dance around on your board. Then you could go to a bigger stabilizer in the rear. This is actually, you know, a fairly decent sized stabilizer for on the smaller wings. On surf, it's kind of a little bit on the smaller side, but it's more for the up and down movement. You know, and in surfing, you want something that's fairly free for turning. So the rear stabilizer basically is the side is gonna free up the turning capability, the carving. You know, having a little bit smaller. So this comes down to personal preference, but this seems to be this stabilizer. We run it on all of our setups just because it's kind of a really good middle ground, does everything size. Having a little bit curved up tips basically takes a little of the gives you a little carve in your tracking. So if it was just a flat stabilizer, it would be really free this way. So it would be free this way for pumping up and down, but it would also be free in the yaw. So it would just be kind of easy to get a lot of yaw out of your front wing, and this actually allows it to kind of get some direction when it banks over. So it gives you a little more carve in your turn.